Hello and welcome to Let's Play Battleblade Warrior by Marc Gascoigne. This is book number 31 in the Fighting Fantasy series. Here's the front cover. Okay, right, let's read the synopsis. Fighting fantasy books, over 10 million copies sold worldwide. The fate of Vimorna lies in your hands. For 6 years, Vimorna has been besieged, but soon it must fall to the evil lizard men. Day after day, you fight alongside your war-weary mother, Queen Periel, but only divine assistance can save you now. Then the great Lord Telak appears in a dream. You are the one chosen to seek out the weapon which will aid you and your city against the dark forces. Your mission will be fraught with danger, but you must succeed. You are Vimorna's only hope. Part story, part game, this is a book in which you become the hero. 2 dice, a pencil and an eraser are all you need. You decide which routes to take, which dangers to risk, and which foes to fight. Cover illustration by David Gallagher. Okay, and there are Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone, who look like they're on holiday in Cyprus. Okay, next page. Puffin Books, Battleblade Warrior. After 6 years of constant bombardment from the forces of the mighty Lizardman Empire, your beloved city of Vimorna lies in ruins, yet its battered and war-weary troops still hold out. Fighting alongside your mother, Queen Periel, you know the situation is desperate. It is surely a matter of time before the city must fall into the hands of evil, unless the divine powers come to its aid. Then the great Lord Telak, god of courage, appears in a dream. You are the one chosen to carry out the mission to bring victory to your people. Only you can seek out the weapon which will aid you and your city against the dark forces. Your mission will take you through enemy lines and will be fraught with danger, but you must succeed. You are Vimorna's last chance. 2 dice, a pencil and an eraser are all you need to embark on this thrilling adventure, which is complete with its elaborate combat system and a score sheet on which to record your gains and losses. Many dangers lie ahead, and your success is by no means certain. You decide which routes to follow, which dangers to risk, and which adversaries to fight. Okay, and there's a map. Okay, so Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone present Battleblade Warrior by Marc Gascoigne, illustrated by Alan Langford, Puffin Books. Okay, so we've just done Chasms of Malice. We're now on Battleblade Warrior, and then it's Slaves of the Abyss, and then Skylord. Anyway, for Bob N, Maggie S, Kevin W, and Stephen K, and all the staff at Greylight Industries PLC, for all the fun they're giving me. Okay, first published 1988. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so I will skip to, or not skip, I will put a timestamp, as they call it, in the video description, which will allow you to skip to the background, and then I'll also put another one in that will allow you to skip straight to the first paragraph. So if you want to do that, check the video description and you can do that. So that's up to you. Otherwise, I'm going to carry on reading. Your character. You are about to embark on a momentous quest that will decide the fate of not just yourself. I think that's a redundant reflexive. Let's do that again. You are about to embark on a momentous quest that will decide the fate of not just you, but a whole city and possibly an entire country. Before embarking on your great adventure, you must first determine your own strengths and weaknesses. Use dice to discover your initial scores. On pages 18 to 19, there is an adventure sheet which you may use to record the details of an adventure. On it, you will find boxes for recording your skill, stamina, and luck scores. You are advised either to record your scores on the adventure sheet in pencil, or to make photocopies of the sheet for use in future adventures, or use a text file like I am. Skill, stamina, and luck. Roll 1 die, add 6 to this number, and enter this total in the skill box on the adventure sheet. Okay, so roll 1 die. Oh, that was lucky. Okay, so we get a 6. That's 6 plus 6 is 12, so we get 12 skill. There we go. Roll 2 dice, add 12 to the number rolled, and enter this total in the stamina box. Okay, so roll 2 dice now. 10 plus 12 is 22, so that's 22 stamina. There is also a luck box. Roll 1 die, add 6 to this number, and enter this total in the luck box. No, yes. Okay, so that was lucky, wasn't it? So we get 6 plus 6 is 12 luck. For reasons that will be explained below, skill, stamina and luck scores change constantly during an adventure. You must keep an accurate record of these scores, and for this reason you are advised either to write small in the boxes or to keep an eraser handy. But never rub out your initial scores. I'll be on my deathbed and I'll think, I never rubbed out my initial scores. In fact, I'll put it in my will. I'll say to my sons and grandsons, I'll say, make sure in Battleblade Warrior you never ever rub out my initial scores. Please, my legacy must live on. Anyway, joke over. Although you may be awarded additional skill, stamina and luck points, these totals may never exceed your initial scores, except on very rare occasions when you will be instructed on a particular page. Your skill score reflects your swordsmanship and general fighting expertise, the higher the better. Your stamina score reflects your general constitution, your will to survive, your determination and your overall fitness. The higher your stamina score, the longer you will be able to survive. Your luck score indicates how naturally lucky a person you are. It may only be through good luck that you survive. Luck and magic are facts of life in the war-torn lands of southern Alanzia, through which you will soon be travelling. Battles. You will often come across pages in the book which instruct you to fight an opponent of some sort. An option to flee may be given, but if not, or if you choose to attack the opponent anyway, you must resolve the battle as described below. First, record your opponent's skill and stamina scores in the first vacant encounter box on your adventure sheet. The scores for each opponent are given in the book each time you have an encounter. The sequence of combat is then 1. Roll both dice once for your opponent, add its skill score. This total is your opponent's attack strength. 2. Roll both dice once for yourself, add the number rolled to your current skill score. This total is your attack strength. 3. If your attack strength is higher than that of your opponent, you have wounded it. Proceed to step 4. If your opponent's attack strength is higher than yours, it has wounded you. Proceed to step 5. If both attack strength totals are the same, you have avoided each other's blows. Start the next attack round from step 1 above. 4. You have wounded your opponent, so subtract 2 points from its stamina score. You may use your luck here to do additional damage. See over. 5. Your opponent has wounded you, so subtract 2 points from your own stamina score. Again, you may use luck at this stage. See over. 6. Make the appropriate adjustments to either your opponent's or your own stamina score and your luck score if you use luck. See over. 7. Begin the next attack round by returning to your current skill score and repeating steps 1 to 6. This sequence continues until the stamina score of either you or your opponent has been reduced to 0. Death. Fighting more than one opponent. If you're involved in a fight with more than one opponent, at the start of each attack round you must decide which single opponent to attack. After choosing one, roll both dice to determine the attack strength of all the combatants individually. Resolve your own attack against your chosen opponent as usual. Next, compare your current attack strength with those of all your other opponents except the one that you've just fought. Any opponent with a higher attack strength than yours will score a hit against you, with the usual loss of 2 stamina points. Remember, you can score hits only against the opponent you choose at the start of the round. Luck. At various times during your adventure, either in battles or when you come across situations in which you could either be lucky or unlucky, details of these are given on the pages themselves, you may call on your luck to make the outcome more favourable. But beware, using luck is a risky business, and if you are unlucky, the results could be disastrous. The procedure for using your luck is as follows. Roll 2 dice. If the number rolled is equal to or less than your current luck score, you have been lucky and the result will go in your favour. If the number rolled is higher than your current luck score, you have been unlucky and you will be penalised. This procedure is known as testing your luck. Each time you test your luck, you must subtract 1 point from your current luck score. Thus, you will soon realise that the more you rely on your luck, the more risky this will become. Using luck in battles. On certain pages of the book, you will be told to test your luck and will be told the consequences of your being lucky or unlucky. However, in battles, you always have the option of using your luck either to inflict a more serious wound on an opponent you have just wounded, or to minimise the effects of a wound your opponent has just inflicted on you. If you have just wounded the opponent, you may test your luck as described above. If you are lucky, you have inflicted a severe wound and may subtract an extra 2 points from the opponent's stamina score. However, if you are unlucky, the wound was a mere graze and you must restore 1 point to your opponent's stamina, i.e. instead of scoring the normal 2 points of damage, you have now scored only 1. If your opponent has just wounded you, you may test your luck to try to minimise the wound. If you are lucky, you have managed to avoid the full damage of the blow, restore 1 point of stamina, i.e. instead of doing 2 points of damage, it has done only 1. If you are unlucky, you have taken a more serious blow, subtract 1 extra stamina point. Remember that you must subtract 1 point from your own luck score each time you test your luck. Hints on play. Skill. As you are already a battle-hardened warrior with many fights behind you in defence of your besieged city, your skill score is above average. It will not change much during your adventure, and you may only change it if specifically instructed. As skill is a measure of combat prowess, it can be reduced, for instance by losing a weapon or by the effects of something like poison. Acquiring an enchanted weapon could increase your skill, but remember that you can only use one weapon at a time. Stamina. Your stamina will change more frequently as your journey continues, as you suffer wounds and exhaustion and then hopefully recover. At various times you will be given opportunities to eat some of the supplies you carry with you. Eating 1 provision restores up to 4 stamina points. You may eat only 1 provision at a time, even though you may have more. You can carry up to 4 provisions at any one time. Your stamina may never exceed its initial value. Now that's interesting. So we can only eat 1 at a time. So it specifically states that, so we can't sort of go mad and gorge on provisions to get our health up to maximum or whatever. Anyway, luck. The eyes of the gods are upon you in your quest. Your patrons will attempt to help you, but their rivals will set deadly enemies and traps in your path to thwart their plans. You will need to use your luck wisely and sparingly if you are to survive and vanquish the forces of evil. There may be occasions when your luck will improve and you can recover some points, but the score may never exceed its initial value. Getting started, read the introductory tale, which begins on page 21, then turn to paragraph 1. It is recommended that you make notes and draw a map as you travel. There is a way of successfully completing the quest that involves only minimal risk of failure or death, but you will need all your skill and luck to find it. Be warned, the object of your quest is never fully revealed to you, so to be successful you must make use of the clues presented to you to deduce just what it is you need to find. Okay, here's the adventure sheet. And it hasn't been written on, which is good, even though it's just a copy of a book I don't have, or I don't have this copy of the book. I got this PDF via a torrent. You know, actually, if I do have this book, I can't remember. I don't think it's written on either. Anyway, regardless of that, Vimorna besieged. As the might of the Lizard Man Empire... Oh, this is page 21, yeah. Okay, Vimorna besieged. As the might of the Lizard Man Empire smashed like an ocean breaker against its walls once more, the besieged city of Vimorna shuddered but held. Along the ragged lines of its shattered walls, desperate men and women fought, though they were dying on their feet, their energy sapped by 6 years of starvation and malnutrition. The battered troops held firm through sheer willpower. For every pace the reptilian troops gained, the defenders vowed 100 lizard corpses would lie. But the lizard men could bear such losses and more, for the might of the lizard kings. But the lizard men could bear such losses and more, for the might of the lizard king's armies was colossal. Soon, very soon, the evil humanoids would break Vimorna's last ring of defences, even if they had to dismantle the city stone by stone, brick by brick. The empire of the Lizard Kings would not rest until all the lands of southern Alanzia were ensnared under its cruel dominion. Inside the city, all this you know, for your mother is Queen Periel, the lion-hearted woman who now commands Vimorna's defences. Your father, Alexandros II, was struck down by a poisoned javelin in a counter-attack to keep the reptilian hordes from the outer wall of the castle at the centre of the city. His death made a warrior of your mother, but this and years of constant bombardment has changed her beyond belief. Where once she was beauty and grace, she is now thin-lipped sternness, her eyes red-ringed through lack of sleep and the side effects of her sorcerous searches for supernatural aid. Night after night the Queen pleads with the gods and their servants for divine help against the overwhelming odds, and each night she receives no answer. It is as if there is a war in the heavens as well as on Titan, and the forces of evil and chaos are winning there too. Your father's death also made a warrior of you, and now you ride into battle alongside your mother. Between raids and wall duties, you help tend the sick, arrayed in rows in the great hall of the castle. There are wounded warriors by the score, but also a great many women and children injured by flying missiles or simply suffering from malnutrition. Food is now very scarce and strictly rationed, and it is only owing to good planning that it has lasted so long. Troubled dreams. What is perhaps worse than the lack of food is the constant lack of sleep. It would be hard enough to sleep anyway with the bombardment of rocks and exploding balls of sulphur, but each night the enemy conjure up spirits and demons which howl around the towers of the castle until dawn. Their screaming, often joined by sorcerous thunder and lightning, would keep all but the most desperately tired awake. However, on this night even you sleep. You spent most of the evening helping to put out a massive fire blazing in the south tower of the castle, started by a flaming brand which had hurtled into the city from one of the many giant catapults stationed just out of reach of the city's archers. When the fire was out, you didn't bother returning to your quarters in the main keep, but just found an empty corner, pulled your stained cloak over yourself, and slept. Dawn breaks, and you awake, savouring the warmth of your corner and the light on your eyes before opening them. But the castle is somehow different. You lie still for a moment before sitting up with a start. There's nothing but silence. Everywhere is quiet, so quiet you can hear your breath coming in short gulps as you rub the sleep from your eyes with your dirty fists to find yourself alone in a corner of the inner hall. All you can see are the bare, rubble-strewn flagstones, the first traces of weeds poking up between them, as if stretching for the sunlight which beams through the gaps in the shattered roof. "By Telak's golden sword," you exclaim aloud, using the oath your mother always forbade you to utter in those far-off days before the siege. The siege, you remember, the siege, and, mother, what in the name of all the heavens is going on? "Indeed you may ask," comes a voice from behind you. You spin round and look up in wonder. Atop the ruined wall above you stands a glowing figure, a hefty warrior armed for battle and clad in brilliant golden armour. About his feet stalks a lion, which must be fully grown, though it is dwarfed by the radiant figure. "Know you not who I am, my child? You called on me just a moment ago, though in truth I was here awaiting you," the warrior intones in a voice that rumbles like thunder round a distant mountain. His gleaming emerald eyes stare deep into yours, flashing with supernatural power. The task of Telak. You drop to your knees, more out of amazement than respect, for you know now that the figure before you is Telak, the sword-bearer, lord of courage and patron of all who bear arms against evil. "My lord," you stammer, "what would you have of me?" "Do not be afraid," rumbles the heavenly voice, "for you must listen carefully to what I tell you. The dark forces that oppose both of us are gathering for a final assault. Even as I speak, demonic legions begin to batter at the gates of my ethereal palace, just as they batter at the very doors of yours. What is needed is an earthly victory against evil, and soon to divert the Lizard King's deathless masters away from my door so I can properly come to Vaimona's aid. Know you of a place called the Dertelakin, Telak's Mount? It is one of twin peaks in the Lion Heights, far to the northeast of Vaimona. You must go there and find a weapon which will aid you and your city against evil. Seek out the man they call Lascar." The golden warrior's voice fades, as if his attention were elsewhere, and the lion at his legs growls. "I must depart to secure my own gates. Go and serve me well. Wheresoever I can, I will aid you, for you are a warrior now, and under my protection." The golden warrior and his lion fade away, and a rough hand is shaking you awake. Through the musty gloom of the inner hall, you can see others rising and shaking themselves. From all around you comes the sound of coughing, stamping, chattering, mingled with the distant sounds of battle. The mission. It is decided then. All the omens are with you. You must depart as soon as you are able. Your mother looks stern, but you know from her eyes that she is dreading your leaving on such a dangerous mission. Around the room, everyone shares Queen Periel's mingled look of trepidation and resolve, but all nod their heads at the decision. You will leave a few hours before dawn to give you the best chance of crossing through the enemy's encampment. In the darkness, you may be able to pass through their lines, though I still fear for you. I was chosen, mother, you state simply, and leave to prepare for your journey. Turn to 1. Okay, so there'll be a timestamp for this paragraph as well. Okay, off we go. Here's paragraph 1. Dawn is not far away. All night the bombardment of the city has continued, but somehow you manage to rest and relax a little in preparation for your journey. Now, with the moon set and the first few glimmers of light on the horizon, you are in the secluded room of your mother, Queen Periel, making your final preparations for your journey. You are dressed in sturdy clothes, but with minimal armor so you can move quickly. You have a strong cloak to protect you from the elements and to keep you warm at night. There is a large rucksack filled with supplies, 4 provisions, and your trusty sword and hunting knife. Okay, let's make a note of all those things. So we have 4 provisions, and we have a sword, hunting knife, which has been hyphenated, strong cloak, and what's the other thing? Strong cloak, 4 provisions, sword and hunting knife. Yeah, that's everything then. Okay. While you are getting ready, the Queen goes to a chest and pulls 3 items from it. These belong to your father, she says, and I know he would want them to be put to good use. You may take 2 of the objects by going to the appropriate paragraphs. Make a note of those you choose on your adventure sheet. There are a bow and 3 silvered arrows, turn to 13. A bottle containing a pale liquid, turn to 388, and a small glass globe filled with a swirling cloud of dust specks, turn to 31. Okay, we're going to take the bow and the arrows. Let's make a note of that. So bow and 3 silvered arrows. And we're also going to take the bottle containing a pale liquid. So let's just see what the arrows are first. Let's turn to paragraph 13. The bow is made from finely worked bone and has a great many charms and sigils carved into it. Its 3 silvered arrows are turned to perfection, and you know that whenever you fire one, you will be almost guaranteed of hitting and destroying your target. Note down the bow and 3 arrows on your adventure sheet. Every time you use an arrow, you must cross it off. If you have another item to choose, turn to 31 for the swirling globe, or turn to 388 for the phial of liquid. If you now have your 2 items, turn to 361. Okay, we're going to turn to, we're going to get the phial of liquid, or the bottle of liquid as it was in the first paragraph. So we're going to get the bottle of pale liquid. New line. Okay, let's turn to 388 for that. Here we are. The pale liquid is a healing balm, which you may take when you need it most. When you wish to use its soothing powers, make a note of the paragraph you are currently at which you currently are, then turn to 42. Okay, so let's just write down turn to 42 to use. There we go. Okay, that's that. If you have another item to choose, turn to 31 for the swirling globe, or turn to 13 for the bow and arrows. If you now have your 2 items, turn to 361. Okay, we now have our 2 items, so we're going to turn to 361. Let's just make a note that it's a healing balm. There we go. And turn to 361. Here we go. Okay, you have several options as far as routes and your method of travelling are concerned. After long discussions with Vaimona's most learned experts, After long discussions with Vaimona's most learned experts, those who are still alive at any rate, it was agreed that you could leave the city with a band of warriors who would try to force their way through the enemy lines and enable you to flee from the besieged city on foot, heading north and then east to your goal. Alternatively, you could take the same route but attempt to leave the city in secret, sneaking through the enemy lines just before dawn. Finally, you could sneak down to the docks and attempt to steal a boat, which would take you a fair distance up the river Weimorn before you head east to your goal. Will you try to break out by force, turn to 130, sneak away before dawn, turn to 93, or try to steal a boat, turn to 158? Okay, we're going to try and steal a boat and turn to 158. You sneak along through the rubble, nearer and nearer to the boats. Test your luck. If you're lucky, turn to 181. If you are unlucky, turn to 313. Okay, let's test our luck. Our luck is currently 12, so roll 2 dice, and I get a 7, which is less than or equal to 12, so I was lucky, but we lose a luck point. We were lucky, so we're turning to 181. Okay, and that is where I'm going to end the video. So I'm going to say 181 and say unread. And thank you for watching. Again, the timestamps will be in the video description. I don't know why I'm saying this now, because it's too late now, isn't it? But regardless, the timestamps will be in the video description. I hope you enjoyed this video. In the next video, we'll be, seeing what happens after we take a boat. Anyway, so thanks for watching, and goodbye.